You think Memorial Day is about barbecues and the start of summer? But the real story behind this holiday will completely change how you see those red poppies people wear. What I'm about to tell you involves a heartbroken woman, a poem written in a World War I trench, and a decision that turned a Confederate general's front yard into America's most sacred ground. Most people believe Memorial Day was created by the government as some official proclamation, but you're wrong. It actually started in 1866 when a woman named Maryanne Williams walked through a cemetery in Mississippi and saw something that broke her heart. Thousands of unmarked graves stretched before her, but only the Union soldiers had flowers on their graves. The Confederate soldiers lay forgotten and bare. Now, here's where most people would expect her to walk away. But Maryanne did something extraordinary. She decided that every soldier, regardless of which side they fought for, deserved to be remembered with dignity. Her simple act of placing flowers on every single grave sparked a movement that would sweep across the entire nation. But that's just the beginning of how deeply personal Memorial Day really is. You see those red poppies people wear today? You probably think they're just a pretty symbol, but the story behind them will give you absolute chills. In 1915, Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae was stationed in a trench in Belgium during World War I. He had just watched his close friend die in battle, and as he looked out across the devastated battlefield, he noticed something incredible. Red poppies were the only living things growing among the destruction, blooming between the white crosses that marked where fallen soldiers were buried. This sight moved him so deeply that he wrote a poem right there in that trench. The poem starts with the words, "In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row." That poem spread around the world and made the red poppy an eternal symbol of remembrance for fallen heroes. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're wondering how all of this connects to that famous cemetery where presidents and heroes are buried. Well, here's where the story gets absolutely shocking. Arlington National Cemetery, the place where over 400,000 service members now rest in peace, sits on land that once belonged to Robert E. Lee's family. You probably assumed this land was always meant to be a cemetery, but the truth is far more dramatic. When Lee joined the Confederacy during the Civil War, the Union Army seized his mansion and the surrounding property. The government was running out of space to bury Union soldiers who died in nearby battles, so they made a calculated decision. They turned Lee's own front yard into a cemetery, ensuring he could never return to his family home. What started as an act of wartime revenge became the most hallowed ground in America. Every single day for over 80 years, elite soldiers have stood guard at the tomb of the unknown soldier in that same cemetery, taking exactly 21 steps, pausing for 21 seconds, and repeating this ritual without fail. These guards have never missed a single day through hurricanes, blizzards, or even during the September 11th attacks. Fewer than 600 soldiers have ever earned the right to guard this tomb, and they do it to honor service members whose families never learned what happened to them. But here's the most powerful part that brings everything together. At exactly 3:00 p.m. on Memorial Day, millions of Americans stop everything they're doing for 1 minute of complete silence. This isn't some ancient tradition like you might think. Congress only created this moment of silence in the year 2000. They chose 3 p.m. because that's when Memorial Day ceremonies reach their peak across the country. During this 1 minute, drivers pull over on highways, construction workers stop their machines, and entire restaurants fall silent. It creates a wave of remembrance that travels from coast to coast through every time zone. This is one of the few moments when our entire nation truly comes together as one, all because of that woman who decided every soldier deserved flowers on their grave. If this story moved you the way it moved me, hit that like button to honor these heroes and their guardians. Subscribe and ring the bell because I've got more untold American stories that will completely change how you see our history. And check out my video about the shocking truth behind the 4th of July that nobody talks about. Trust me, you won't believe what really happened.